The Zimbabwe Gender Commission is holding a 4-day workshop in Masvingo to prepare aspiring women candidates for the 2023 national elections. Matthew Takaona of the Mirror spoke to two of the commissioners on the program.
We are once again on the Mirror program, meeting the opinion leaders. Today I have with me commissioners from the Zimbabwe Gender Commission. We are privileged to have Chief Chikwizo, whose real name is Peter Maonera, who is on the extreme left. Welcome, Chief. We also have Commissioner Dr. Nyikudzai Mes Nyangulu, who is just between us. Welcome, Commissioner. Thank you. Yes, the two commissioners are in Masvingo at a local hotel where they are conducting a workshop with women, as is their mandate. The workshop is to do with mentoring women in as far as politics and their participation in that area is concerned. They have women from several political parties that are participating in the workshop. We will get the full details of what the workshop is all about from them, and please join us. I will start with Commissioner Nyangulu. Commissioner Nyangulu, you are here in Masvingo. You are holding a workshop. What's the workshop all about?
Political leaders training. We call it Women Arise in Politics. In short, RIP. And it is training and mentorship program that was designed to address some of the persistent barriers that consistently hinder women's political participation and leadership. Some of these barriers include lack of confidence in themselves. It includes limited experience in leadership, and it gives them information also to try and broaden their horizon. The RIP training has also been developed in response to the clarion call made during our provincial consultative dialogues for having 50-50, which is in our constitution a representation of women and men in all walks of life, which is stressing the need for capacity building interventions to address the gender inequalities that still exist in our country.
Can I find out who exactly are the participants to this workshop?
Participants are drawn from different political parties so that all the political parties who are in Zimbabwe can be in a position to know how to run when they are campaigning, to empower them in terms of the way how they should campaign.
Thank you, Chief. Can you also add on that?
It's providing knowledge and skills, competencies that will enable women candidates to run for office. It is also to help change perceptions of gender and leadership effectiveness. And it just then also gives them the feel, and because we're giving them practical experience of how to do public speaking, how to prepare for the elections, how to fundraise, and many other things that they need to help them prepare to run for office.
How many are the participants? Chief,
the participants, there are 20 of them, drawn from different political parties.
How were they selected?
They apply. Then our office would conduct different political parties. As Zimbabwe Gender Commission, we don't select, but it's the political parties themselves. They give us the participants.
What criteria were you looking for in those participants? What exactly did you want in the participants?
They needed just to be aspiring candidates. Some have tried before and didn't succeed. Others are coming for the first time. And this is a national program which is targeting all the 63 electoral districts in the country. And so far, we've had a total of 319 women trained. And each training, as Chief said, there's 20 people. We have done 16 districts before. So now we're just going district by district.
By district.
So it's the 63 districts that we are hoping we can cover.
So you are moving from one district to another.
Yes.
So the participants that you have here, from which district have you drawn them?
This time round, we have got the participants from the Kita, and we always work with two teams. One team is in Kwekwe right now, while we are here. And 2 weeks ago, one team was in Chipinge, and the other team was in Lawai. Both government is funding this, and the UN Women.
The UN Women.
Yes.
In Masvingo, for example, how many districts have you so far covered?
This is the second one.
For how long is your program running?
4 days.
So you started on?
We started on Monday.
You started on Monday.
Finish on Thursday.
Now we look at the participants that are there. What is your comment? Are they really? Do you think they are finding the program helpful?
Some of them have already tried to go into elections and they didn't manage. So they are coming with some experience. And then there are some that are fresh, wanting to go in for the first time. So it's a mixed bag.
So what are their comments generally?
Their comments are
training
they are
program?
very excited. They are very excited, and it is a hands-on. It is a workshop in the true sense of the word, because they are being given practical exercises and working in groups, and even stand up and do trial runs of their public speaking, and sharing the problems like the ones that have gone before, the problems they experienced, sharing with the new ones, giving them some idea and heads up on what to expect, and so on and so forth. So it really is a workshop. It's very exciting.
Major items on the program in terms of areas. You said public speaking is one of them. What are the others?
There are various sessions. They have sessions on how to carry themselves, how to look after themselves, how they present themselves to the electorate, what things they should speak, how they approach it, how do they...
When you say how to carry themselves,
Yeah.
what to say to the electorate, how to present themselves, can you just elaborate a little bit?
How do you get men to vote for you? What kind of language should you use in order to entice the men and the young men to vote for you? How do you get the women also to think that you can do the job? Because sometimes women may also think, we're not sure whether I should be able to do it. So you need to think of things, a project. You have to think of things that, what are you selling? What is your story? What is it that you want to change? You're going to be a transformational leader, someone that comes to the community with a real change.
What are some of the tricks that you are teaching them about how to make yourself appeal to the men? Because men usually look down upon women when it comes to politics. They think politics is for the other gender.
I think if they come to the table with a story and a project that they want to do, what is it that they're bringing? What is it that they are marketing? How are they going to change lives? How are they going to make the community different? So they have to we're teaching them to have to do their homework, where they prepare themselves on what they really must deliver. Not just speaking, but what are they going to deliver?
Projects need funding. Where do these women get funding? They might be politically capable, but resources are not there, Chief. What do they bring to the table?
But if they're coming, say councillors, councillors will be working with councillors, isn't it? So the resources that the councillors have, and pushing the councillors to attend to certain things, for example, is the ability to be able to talk to people and make things happen. And we're also trying to teach them about fundraising. How they can, some of them have already got their own projects that they do their chickens, they do their even brick making, they were saying, and they begin to have a pool of resources that they have, and that they will have a starting point, going forward. But more importantly is to say what structures that are there, like in the council, as I've seen, how they communicate with them to bring to their attention the things in their areas that need to be improved, and the service delivery is one of the key things.
That is just one of the things, one of the items on the table. Go to the other items.
I've talked about how they prepare themselves for running for office, how they do fundraising. We've also talked about how they navigate from the home with the husband. I want to run for office, and how they should bring the family, their families and their relatives, their friends, as their home teams, so that they are the first people to support them. And then if they go to the electorate, they will just be beefing up. But they need that commitment from their families, from their spouses.
Are you saying, Commissioner, let me take you back a little bit. Are you saying, therefore, in your program, you have noticed, or you have observed, or you believe, usually there are problems with women getting into politics, particularly from the family background? Probably the husband, probably the children, and so forth.
No, we were discussing with them some of the problems they have faced. So they give us, their experience, and then we are working with that. So the suggestion is that they need, some of them have negotiated nicely with their husbands and they have support. Others, they faced problems. So they are also helping each other with solutions from experiences that they have faced.
Chief, you see husbands sometimes becoming problems for wives to get into politics?
I don't think so. What we are trying to teach them is the way how to approach their husbands so that they will get into politics. Because they also need the help from the husband so that the husband can encourage the woman, the wife, to get into politics. Yes. Even the children, yes. Even the relatives, because if you don't engage those people from the beginning, they won't see it properly. So you need support from home so that even if you go out, you get more support.
Thank you so much. What are the other items?
Managing their time, because just because you've become a politician that doesn't take away the fact that your wife, your mother, your sister, your daughter-in-law, and all these things. So it's again managing all these multiple roles, and knowing that even going into politics is not trying to be on top of men. Is saying we have a contribution to make as women. So move a little bit so we can share the space. But we respect you and we honor you and we know your place. And you should do the same with us. Honor us, respect us, and give us our place. So those are the sort of the messages.
Probably a wife becomes a minister and the husband is just a farmer or a villager. Do you see any activity and any conflicts arising out of that, Chief?
I don't think so. There will be any conflict as long as the husband and the wife agree that the wife should take up the post of an MP or a councillor or a minister. I don't think there's any problem with that. Because we would have agreed on that. Yes.
Right. Anything else that you think is critical in the content that we are giving them?
We are encouraging them to be strong. It's not a walk in the park. It needs a strong commitment. It needs consistency. It needs persistence, and it needs someone who's grounded and believing in themselves, and make themselves believed by those that they are trying to vote for them. That's the message we're giving them.
Thank you. Do you have a certain percentage that you have pitched which you say, come 2023, we want to have such percentage of councillors and such percentage of MPs and such percentage of senators, such percentage of representative, proportional representatives? Do you have any such figures or you are just saying you want an increment?
We haven't given it a percentage because it's very difficult. You know, we cannot give you that. But we are hoping for a significant increase. For example, the 2018 harmonized elections, we revealed that there was low representation, 48% in the Senate were women, then 31.5% in the National Assembly, then 13.3% at local government level. So we want, especially in the House of Assembly and at the local government, we would really like to see a significant change.
Can you just give a comment about 48% in the Senate, Chief? You think you still have a job to do here if we have 48% women?
Well, 48% is a good percentage, but what we are willing to have is 50-50. Yes. So if 48% is not bad.
Let's go to the other figure. You said 1.5% National Assembly. What's your comment on that?
That's very low.
That's very low. How do you see this program making changes on that kind of thing?
It will change, you know, upwards. Yeah, but I can't tell you till we have targeted X percent.
Do you think it's the training alone is enough without talking to the political leadership, the leadership of the political parties, so that there is even direct intervention by them, by the political parties themselves, to see that women numbers are increased in the elections?
Before we started, you know, talking about this program, we actually were visiting the political parties themselves. We talked about their head of administration. We wanted to see their constitutions. We were asking a lot of questions about how they are set up and the position of women in those political parties. And then further to that, we have done what we call a gender audit. A whole, you know, research that was done. A consultant was given the work to do, and we've had several meetings to report back to the political parties on the gender audit, because they went into talking to the political parties deeper and finding out more information, and so we were engaging them. And the third thing then that came from that was that then we could go back to them to say, we are going to do this training, give us your candidates. So the candidates we have that we are training have come from the political parties. We have programs, we have also thematic working groups. We have got thematic working group on social and cultural, that works around the problems of patriarchy and women and so on. We have got the one on economic empowerment, which I chair, and we have another one on the women and climate change. And then we have women in health. We are constantly working on how women's status can be improved. We also have got
not just in politics.
Data that we are getting from women that can aspire for board membership, for women in decision making. We are having that database that the commission is keeping. Yeah, and so we are doing anything and everything that is possible to bring about gender equity.
Gender equity, not just in politics, but in all sectors, across the board. You also talked about visiting political parties to their leadership on conscientizing them again on what is in the constitution. What is your view of their attitude towards this when you meet them?
The political parties that we have visited so far, most of them, they are willing to work with the Zimbabwe Gender Commission pertaining to that, because we are also going to have a Gender Equality Act, so that if there is that Gender Equality Act.
Can you elaborate on it? Any one of you can elaborate?
We find that it is difficult for us to enforce what the Zimbabwe Constitution is saying, especially on equality. There are so many various sections of Section 70, Section 56, Section 80, they are all, speaking to gender equality. But, we need an enabling act so that if there is any violation, then, a person will be able to use that act to bring the perpetrator to book. So what we are proposing is that we have a Gender Equality Act, which can be applicable across the board. Yes.
Okay. Are there any other acts other than this that you are proposing in the Gender Commission in order to enable that which is in the Constitution about the Gender
Sexual Harassment Act? Yeah, because it's rampant. And so, there is no real act that can, give the penalties for people that do that. So we are hoping that there will also be that Sexual Harassment Act and, gender-based violence.
If you agree that sexual harassment is rampant in this country, or is
it is, yes. It is because all over you come across such things, even in the workplace, in the workplaces, schools, in fact, in community, all over is there. Yes.
Just off it, what do you want this act to do?
Whenever someone commits that crime, he should be penalized for that. Because in the past, it was not like that. When someone gets married to a 14-year-old, then if you go to the courts, they would say, well, they've got the sexual consent. Then that person is acquitted. But when there's an act, it means someone will get arrested because of that.
What's the time frame for this program?
We are targeting to finish the district's funds permitting before the next election. We're preparing these candidates for 2023.
But can we really say before the next elections, or it must be some months before the elections? Because we can't train a candidate 1 week before the elections.
No, we are trying to run as fast as we can to cover as many districts.
What do you want to say?
Because when we train people like this, they will meet others and they will talk. So they will also be sharing information. If we don't finish everyone, but at least some basics have gone into the communities, and they will share with all, and they will influence each other.
Have you been given the reason as to why the figures are so low?
The reasons are very clear. Women don't have resources to campaign. Women may not have the support, like we have just discussed, from family, from the base. And women, again, they fear harassment, they hear of the violence that goes on, because when the violence during elections is taking place, it's the women and the children that suffer most. So some women are afraid actually to come forward, even if they are immaterial for leadership. But these things deter them from coming forward.
Chief, there is underrepresentation of women in traditional courts. In fact, we have very few women chiefs. Do you think this is another area that the Gender Commission can look at?
It's a bit difficult. But as Zimbabwe Gender Commission, we are trying to do that. We can't just do it overnight. But as Gender Commission, we are encouraging women to be traditional leaders.
Is it a question of encouraging the women, or is it the traditional rules and norms that bar women from becoming chief aides or chief secretaries, or sitting in traditional courts as some of their deciders?
When we talk of women sitting in the traditional leaders' courts, these days we are having more women sitting in there. Even the secretaries and the village heads, we are actually getting more of women as village heads and secretaries.
I want to thank you so much, Chief Chipizo, for being with us here and for being in the province to do a training program for women in leadership, in particular women in politics. I also want to thank you so much, Dr. Nyangulu, for also being here in Masvingo for the same program and for having such a keen interest on the well-being of the women and the progression of women. I want to thank you so much. I wish you a good stay and a fruitful end to your workshop. Thank you so much.
Thank you.